Hello, this is Hannah with Hannah Crafted Gifts, and I'm going to show you very quickly, hopefully today, how to cut your envelope for the Fun in the Sun paper pumpkin kit if you'd like to make my alternate push-up card. So I learned the push-up card once upon a time from my upline Bethany Barnard, and I keep coming back to it. I really like this way of folding. So when I saw this kit, I thought it would be a good one to use it with so that you can create this little envelope push-up card. So as you can see, it says sending an ocean of love, and you get the stripes from the top of the envelope on there. But then as you push up, you get a little island in the middle of your ocean, and it says, wish you were here. So that is what I made for my alternate this month, and I'm going to show you how I cut that envelope. So give me just a moment to try switching my camera here. I'm going to, let's see, cover that, and we're going to go like this. And let's see, can I switch the view so you're not just looking at my ceiling? No, I can't. All right, so I'm going to cover one more time. Do another swivel, maybe not. Sorry, it's been a little while since I've done this. Okay, there we go. Hopefully you're not going to see the mess that is on my desk. You are going to see a little bit of it. Okay. Some other tools, some other kits, some other cards. But here we go. So this is what we are doing. I'm going to try to stay in view here because I'm looking at it like upside down. It's not ideal, but all right. So here's how you cut your envelope. I have a full tutorial on making a push-up card, and the dimensions are a little different. But for this envelope to work best, what I found was to first cut off a 1/4 inch on either side. And you're not unfolding the envelope. You're leaving it fully intact. Putting it up here at the top of your trimmer. Sorry, I'm just getting some things out of the way. Some dust. And then going to a 1/4 inch and just fully cutting off that 1/4 inch. Okay. Now I'm going to flip it and take it down to the bottom of my trimmer, which hopefully you can still mostly see. And you're going to do the same thing. Take a 1/4 inch off of this side. So 1/4 inch. There we go. All right. So now it's opened up for us. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to do some folding. So just to keep things really, really simple, ideally for my class, I'm going to go ahead and fold on this score line that was our envelope flap, just so that it makes it a little easier to see that score line. Because then what I want to do is I want to match that flap score line with the bottom of the envelope score line. So I'm going to fold down just very gently, because I don't quite want to create a fold until I know exactly where it's going to be. So this is the bottom of the envelope score line. This is the envelope flap score line, and I'm just lining those up. All right. So now I know that my halfway line is going to be right there, so I can go ahead and just gently burnish that for now. I may come back with a bone folder and burnish it a little more later, but I also don't want like a really significant crease in the middle of my ocean here, so I may just actually leave that as just a gentle burnish. All right, so now we can see where we need to cut off the bottom of this. So I'm just going to put it back in my trimmer. Let me slide this back down a little bit so you can see. And I'm just going to cut off what goes below this flap here. So looking at that, it's going to be about 4 1/4. 4 1/4 would take off a little bit of the flap, but I think that's okay. So let's say 4 1/4, all right? And that cuts off, you can see just the teeniest little end of my flap, which is fine. And then this piece, which we didn't really want anyway, because it has, you know, these pieces sticking up. Now I might keep this because I could maybe still use a strip of that blue from the middle. We'll see. No scrap left behind, right? All right, so now I have to do just a little bit more scoring on my trimmer, which I have already started to forget. Okay, so I think it's 3/4 of an inch. So I'm going to go 3/4 of an inch. Now you might say, you know, that's not lining up here, but luckily we have these lines on the Stampin' Up! Trimmer that continue down. Most trimmers should have that. And so I know that that's 3/4 of an inch, and that line right below it is also 3/4 of an inch. So I can take the end of this flap, put it up to 3/4 of an inch. Go ahead and gently score, because envelope paper is much thinner than cardstock. I would say it might even be a little lighter, although pretty comparable to designer series paper. So I've got that score line. Now here's what I don't remember. I think my next score line is gonna be above. Yes, it is, okay. So my next score line is above this score line that was here from the envelope flap. So I've done 3/4 from the end here, the end of the flap. Now I'm gonna slide it in and I'm gonna do 3/4 from this score line that we already have from the envelope. So I'm just lining that up. Again, that's my 3/4 line. And so I'm lining that up just below so that I can see it. And I can also look, it hits right down here on 3/4 as well. So that helps me know I'm straight since I'm not pushed up against the top here. So I've got it lined up to 3/4 there, 3/4 there. Again, I'm gonna gently score that. Now I'm gonna flip it and do the other side. So I need 3/4 to start. This side's easier because it's fully flush, right? So 3/4 there. Slide it past this score line. This was the bottom of our envelope score line to begin with. Again, I'm gonna line that up with 3/4 up here and 3/4 down here. And I can kind of line it up along this line, again, to make sure that I'm straight and do my final gentle score there. All right, so now I should be done with my trimmer. I'm gonna go ahead and gently fold on all those score lines, all in the same direction. No accordion folding on this, even though the cards in this kit are all about accordion folds, which I love. I love that they did that because it creates these great little scenes. All right, and then the last thing we have to do with the trimmer actually is this middle score line right here. We're going to cut a little slit in that for things to push up through. So once again, put it in your trimmer. I like to, on the Stampin' Up! Trimmer, put the score line just onto this gray that's just on either side of my cutting or scoring trough. And we just need like the smallest, like 1/16 of an inch slit opening. And I'm gonna start my trimming blade right in kind of the center of the envelope and very gently, because again, envelopes are this thinner paper, they tear very easily, so you want a fresh blade. And just very gently, I'm gonna push up to about 7/8. Actually, I'm gonna go to like 3/4. All right, so 3/4 there. And then I'm gonna come down to the equivalent, which would be 4.5, because that gives me 3/4 to my 5 1/4 total length there. All right, so I'm gonna put that back in the middle, lift it up, slide it over. So now the score line is on this side, the left side gray right here on the other side of my cutting trough. Really gently, once again, because this is very likely to tear now. It's a very thin strip we're cutting. I'm gonna go back up to 3/4. Again, you could do 7/8. You could do, you know, really any length, just wide enough to make sure you're gonna be able to have whatever you're having pop up, push through. All right, great. So that's probably even a little wider than I need it, but maybe about a, you know, 1/8 of an inch. And now I'm just gonna take my snips and kind of lifting that up, pushing away the rest of the card base, or in this case, envelope base. And I'm going to, actually, you know what? I'm gonna do this the reverse way. I think it'll be a little cleaner. So if I come underneath and push it up, and then just snip the end there and bend it back. This side's a little easier because it's not attached on the other side. Snip that there. You can throw that piece away. That is one scrap I am leaving behind. And okay, and yeah, that's a lot cleaner on the top because now those little, you know, teeny pieces that I cut off are kind of folding to the inside rather than folding to the outside. Like you can see on this one, it's just ever so slightly like sticking up, which I could probably tuck those in, but cutting it that way makes it even cleaner. So then for the assembly, I'll show you just real quickly. All you're gonna do is fold up that bottom flap. You're gonna stick your images along here. And again, I have a full tutorial on making a push-up card from this point on. It just has some slightly different cutting and scoring dimensions because it uses a cardstock base rather than an envelope base. But you would glue the back bottom of your pieces, in my case, the palms. So the back bottom of those are glued down to this first flap. Although that would put your stripes in the back. I had my stripes in the front. So if you want your stripes on the front, then actually you'd be working from this flap first. So put the back bottom of whatever you're having pushed through right along here. you first want to kind of play with it and make sure that, you know, it sticks up as much as you want when it's closed. It has to stick up a little bit to be able to feed through. And then you want to make sure that when it's open, it's showing everything you want to show. So kind of play around with that before you actually adhere anything. But then you adhere that right there. Then you put adhesive, whatever your adhesive of choice is, all along just this front of the bottom flap, and it's going to go over top of the pieces that you glued onto there. And then you close it with this flap tucked in as well. Again, making sure everything is pushed through your slit. Close it, it folds perfectly in half. You squeeze that together, and then when you do the push-up, let me hold it from the inside so you can see, because obviously it's not adhered, so I'm not done with it yet, but as you push, I guess, down, things push up and through that little slit. Kind of looks like a tissue box. So there you have it. Hopefully that makes sense. Again, if you want to see the fuller tutorial of assembly, you can check out my other push-up card tutorial, which I'll link to from wherever you're watching this, either on my blog or on YouTube. And once again, this is the finished alternative card. So thanks so much for watching. I'm not going to do the camera switch to come back on to just show my face, but I really appreciate your support. The most helpful thing you can do for me is share this with others who you think might be interested. But you can also like this video if you did, comment and I'll try to reply. Subscribe for more, lots more to come, and happy crafting.